Good afternoon, Flo.
Good afternoon, dude. We're making another childhood favorite today, wontons.
Nice.
I don't know what kind of memories you have, dude, about growing up in Vancouver and going out for wonton, but that was just something that we did regularly, whether it was with my great-grandparents or my grandparents or with my own parents. There was always wonton.
We lived in Vancouver, and it was a mainstay. When I went to Chinatown with my grandparents, we would always have wonton noodles. Always.
I also have memories of Chinatown and going for wonton noodles. Even though I grew up in Surrey, I spent every single weekend in Vancouver with my grandparents or great-grandparents. And Chinatown was always part of that equation, whether we're just going out for shopping for groceries or going to Chinese school when we were a little bit older. But going out there for lunch was always memorable. I don't know, if you go to a restaurant now, it's also sanitized and clean and modern. But back then it was just, folding chairs, tables with a round board on top so they can seat more people. And yeah, it was just something I remember a lot of. And how I would eat my wontons is they always came with a little sauce dish on the side, and that's for your chili oils or your red vinegar to eat with your wonton noodles. And I never used dipping sauce when I was a kid. Actually, I still don't use dipping sauce now. But I would use that little dish as my cooling dish. So I put one wonton there, and I'd wait for it to cool, and then I'd eat it with my spoon, and then I would put another one on there so that it would cool. And that was just my way of cooling down my food so I don't burn my tongue.
That's a great strategy.
Unlike some people.
I should employ that now.
So I've defrosted and rinsed my shrimp. There's about a pound here. I'm going to remove the tails because I don't want the shells on them. And I'm going to throw the tail actually into the chicken broth that I am heating up. And I'm just using a box of chicken broth. I don't have any homemade. You can make your own homemade sauce if you like. And the easy way to remove tails is this part of the shrimp. If you just press there, it actually releases some of the air in there, and then it just pulls right off. See? Oh, brother. I have 2 scallions, and I'm only going to use half in the pork mix, but half for garnish. So I'm going to set some aside. It's just easier to chop it all up at once and set it aside as opposed to chop some up now and chop some up later. Also going to pat dry the shrimp. And because my prawns are so big, they're too big for the wontons. So you can use a smaller size shrimp, but this is what I had in the fridge. So I'm just going to cut them down. These already came deveined and clean, so you don't have to take that. Sometimes there's a black strip here. So if you have shrimp that need that removed, just do a cut, and then you can easily remove that intestine.
Or is it
essentially poo? Well, it is, but it's their intestine. That's why there's poo in there. I think I'm just going to cut this up into maybe 4 or 5 pieces. Yeah, 5 pieces. And I have a pound of ground pork in here already. It's lean ground pork. And I'm just going to add my shrimp. There. I'm going to use about 4 teaspoons of soy sauce. So I'm just going to eyeball because you know me.
Oh, we know you, Flo.
Oops, that might be a little bit more than 4. And about 2 teaspoons of kosher salt. I'm going to be a little bit less just in case. So maybe 1.5 teaspoons. And then 2 really good pinches of white pepper.
You know, Flo, after several of these nostalgic favorites of yours, there is a kind of recurring theme of ingredients.
Yeah, it's essentially the same ingredients, just a little bit different portion of each. I have about maybe 1.5 to 2 teaspoons of sugar. You know what? I always just keep hearing my grandmother's voice in my head, which is just a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and it's always the same ingredients. Maybe that's why. Okay, about a tablespoon of cornstarch. And if you don't have cornstarch, you can use potato starch. What am I missing? Sesame oil. 1/2 teaspoon to a teaspoon of sesame oil. And then the green scallions, green onion, whatever you want to call it. And then we're going to stir in one direction.
Oh, you decided to go the other direction today.
What do you mean? This is the same direction, clockwise.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
My mind must be going opposite then.
So someone actually said that going in one direction makes it, what did she say now? Makes it more sticky because you want to be able to get it to the right consistency. And if you move it around a different way, it doesn't work as well. I don't know, I can't remember what exactly she said now. It smells good.
It sure does.
I think it's the sesame oil
and the pepper.
Yeah. Now to the fun part, the wrapping. All right. So I just purchased these wonton wrappers. I don't know how to make them, nor do I want to know how to make them. So just take a little bit of filling. You want about a teaspoon. So my shrimp pieces are pretty big. So maybe just 1 piece of shrimp. And a little bit of pork. You don't want it to be too big because otherwise the stuffing will burst out of the wrapper. You don't want that. So just take a little bit of water and just to seal the sides. That prevents the filling from coming out. And then we just kind of grab the corners and twist a little bit. And again, dab that to stick it together. Just hold it for a second. That's it. There's probably easier way. I've seen on YouTube that there's a Hong Kong style of wrapping wontons, and maybe that might be easier. But I haven't tried, so let's see if that works. Again, just a little bit of filling. And they press the corners together. Then they take the inside of their, between their thumb and their pointer finger, and they just push up. And the other side as well. And that's how they make their wontons. I don't know. Either way, you just don't want the meat to come out. You can even just make them into triangles if that's easier. It all tastes the same. All right, we're just gonna make a few for Dude to do the taste. As soon as the water's boiled, just put them in there. It should only take about a minute or two until they're cooked and they'll be floating up to the top of the water. I also have my chicken broth going, just simmering with the prawn tails. Okay, the wonton's ready. I'm just going to add a couple of drops of sesame oil into the bowl. little bit of the green onions. My wontons on top. So see, the wrapper is a little bit more white, it's not as yellow, and all of the wontons are floating to the top. So this was about 2 minutes. And we'll just pour a little bit of soup on top. Want a little bit more green onions, dude?
Yeah, sure.
And now it's time for You're
The
such
taste.
a clown.
Don't ruin my moment, girl. Just trying to be innovative for the audience.
Uh-huh.
I try to go that extra mile for you guys. That sesame oil, so fragrant.
Don't burn yourself.
20 seconds later.
I wonder if you're supposed to put the whole thing in your mouth.
I can eat it any way I want to. I wasn't too sure what to expect from the ground pork. Do they use ground pork or do they use like the hand minced pork?
Hand minced.
Okay, so but anyways, I wasn't too sure what to expect in terms of the mealiness, but I detect none, and I think that has to do with the prawn just adding that whatness or the smoother nature of the wonton. Wonton cooked expertly. Flavor of the pork and the mixture inside. Perfect. All we need now is some wonton noodles and my concoction of red vinegar and chili oil, and it'll be perfect.
So that recipe actually makes quite a bit. So if you can't eat all of that or you don't want to cook it all at once, you can always freeze them. But make sure you freeze them on a flat sheet and then put them in a Ziploc bag. But don't throw them all in a Ziploc bag, otherwise it will freeze in a giant clump. You don't want to do that. So freeze them individually and then put them in a bag. Remember, every tool that I use in my videos can be found in the description below, and every time that you purchase something from one of our links, we get a little cut, and that really helps the channel, so we appreciate that. I'm really hoping that you guys are enjoying my nostalgic childhood favorites, and I am really enjoying making them for you and for the family, because I think the kids don't really get a whole lot of that, but they are also enjoying it. So please subscribe to my channel here, check out my recipe book here, and other videos you can find over there. Till next time, be simple, ordinary, and joyful.